What if I told you that the secret to lifelong success isn't hidden in your resume, your wealth, or even your talent? It lies in something far more powerful, your mindset. We live in a world where change is constant, challenges are inevitable, and setbacks are part of life. But what separates those who merely survive from those who thrive? It's not luck or genius, it's the way they think. Their mindset is their superpower. A growth mindset, a term coined by psychologist Carol Dweck, is the belief that abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. This view creates a love of learning and resilience, both essential for great accomplishments. Successful people are not those who never fail, they are the ones who never stop trying. They learn, adapt, and grow from every failure. They see obstacles as opportunities and feedback as fuel for growth. Whether you're striving to build a career, lead a team, overcome a personal struggle, or create a meaningful life, the journey starts within. The quality of your thinking shapes the quality of your life. So today, I challenge you to take ownership of your mindset, train it, feed it, stretch it, because your mindset will either limit you or launch you. The way we perceive our abilities, whether we believe they can change or not, has a profound impact on our success. At the core of this idea are two distinct mindsets, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. These two ways of thinking, though subtle in appearance, determine how we respond to challenges, how we learn, and how far we go in life. A person with a fixed mindset believes that qualities like intelligence, talent, and creativity are inborn and unchangeable. They may think, I'm just not good at math, or I wasn't born a leader, as if these traits were carved in stone. This belief creates a fragile sense of self-worth. When things go wrong, people with a fixed mindset often feel personally attacked or discouraged, because they see failure as a reflection of who they are, not what they did. In contrast, someone with a growth mindset believes that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, good strategies, and learning from mistakes. They may not be good at something yet, but they believe they can improve with time and practice. This mindset creates resilience. It encourages individuals to push through difficulties, seek feedback, and view effort as a necessary path to mastery. One of the most groundbreaking aspects of this mindset theory, introduced by psychologist Dr. Carol Dweck, is how it highlights the power of belief. What we believe about ourselves influences how we behave. A child told repeatedly that they are smart may avoid hard tasks to protect that label, while a child praised for their effort may become more adventurous in their learning, knowing that success comes from persistence. The implications of this are enormous, not just for children, but for adults, professionals, and leaders. In workplaces, individuals with a fixed mindset often avoid feedback, resist change, and fear competition. They may see the success of others as a threat. In contrast, those with a growth mindset view others' success as a source of inspiration. They see feedback not as criticism, but as a tool for improvement. Mindset shapes how we deal with challenges. A fixed mindset sees obstacles as signals to stop, assuming the difficulty is due to a lack of natural ability. A growth mindset, on the other hand, sees challenges as an essential part of the journey. It understands that success is not a straight line, but a winding road filled with trial and error. This way of thinking fosters tenacity and long-term achievement. Even the concept of effort is viewed differently. In a fixed mindset, effort is often seen as something you do only if you're not good enough. People think, if I have to try, I must not be smart. In a growth mindset, effort is noble. It's the bridge between ability and accomplishment. People with this mindset know that even the most talented individuals put in hours of hard work to reach their goals. What's especially interesting is that our mindset isn't set in stone. It's not as if some people are born with a growth mindset and others with a fixed one. We all have a mix of both, and we can change. With awareness and practice, we can shift our thinking and rewire our responses. This opens the door for continuous self-improvement. The language we use plays a crucial role in shaping mindset. Saying, "I can't do this," reinforces limitation, while saying, "I can't do this yet," leaves room for growth. The simple addition of the word "yet" turns a closed door into an open one. This subtle shift in language can dramatically reshape our attitude toward learning and performance. One powerful example of the growth mind set in action comes from athletes. The world's top performers rarely rely on talent alone. They train relentlessly, study their craft, and seek out coaches who can help them refine every move. They know that their edge doesn't come from what they were born with, it comes from their mindset, their drive, and their willingness to learn. In education, teachers who adopt a growth mind encourage students to embrace mistakes as learning moments. They reward effort, improvement, and problem-solving strategies. Over time, students in these environments tend to outperform those in rigid, test-focused systems because they are not afraid to think deeply and take risks. Ultimately, the difference between a growth and fixed minds, it is not just a matter of optimism versus pessimism. It's a fundamental shift in how we view ourselves and our potential. When we understand that our brains are malleable and that we are capable of transformation, we step into our power. We stop running from failure and start running toward possibility. The secret to unlocking that power lies in believing we can grow. Failure is often misunderstood. In many societies, it is seen as something shameful, a sign of weakness, incompetence, or lack of preparation. From a young age, we are conditioned to avoid failure at all costs, but this fear distorts reality. In truth, failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of the process. In fact, it's one of the most powerful forms of feedback we can receive. When we fail at something, it provides us with critical information. It shows us what doesn't work, where our strategies may be flawed, and what skills we still need to develop. Rather than being a dead end, failure is like a mirror reflecting the gap between where we are and where we want to be. It gives us data, and like any good scientist, we need data to improve, refine, and eventually succeed. Consider how children learn to walk. They stumble, fall, bump into things, and try again. Not once do they think, maybe walking isn't for me. They don't interpret their failure as a personal flaw. They simply use it to adjust their balance, their steps, their strategy, and they keep going. That same mindset, free of shame and full of experimentation, is what we need to carry into every area of life. Unfortunately, as we grow older, we become more self-conscious. We tie our identity to our achievements. When we fail, we feel exposed as if the world can see our inadequacy. This is where mindset becomes crucial. People with a growth mindset interpret failure as a signpost, not a verdict. They ask, "What can I learn from this?" instead of "What's wrong with me?" Every great inventor, leader, artist, and entrepreneur has failed often more times than we'll ever know. Thomas Edison is famously quoted as saying, "I have not failed. I've just found 10 zeros, zero ways that won't work." His success with the light bulb didn't come in spite of failure, but because of it. He kept learning, iterating, and improving, using each failed attempt as a lesson. The concept of resilience is deeply connected to how we view failure. Resilient people bounce back not because they are stronger or smarter, but because they treat failure as a natural and necessary part of the journey. They do not personalize setbacks. Instead, they ask better questions. Why did this happen? What can I change? How can I grow from this? Failure also teaches humility. It reminds us that we are always learners, no matter how skilled we think we are. It breaks the illusion of perfection and encourages us to stay curious and open to feedback. When we fail, especially in front of others, we are forced to face vulnerability. But vulnerability, when embraced, builds authenticity, connection, and inner strength. In the business world, some of the most successful innovations have come after failure. Airbnb, for example, struggled to raise money and was rejected by numerous investors. Today, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. The key was not that its founders never failed, but that they didn't quit. They adapted, they listened, they learned from their mistakes. Academic systems often don't reinforce the right mindset about failure. Students are taught to aim for perfect scores, and mistakes are penalized rather than explored. This cultivates fear rather than curiosity. A shift in perspective, one that sees every error as a clue, every setback as a stepping stone, is essential if we want to raise confident, innovative thinkers. We must also learn to differentiate between failure and defeat. Failing doesn't mean you are done. It means you are in motion. It means you've reached a limit in your current understanding, and now have an opportunity to stretch beyond it. Defeat only happens when we stop trying, when we give up. But failure, if we allow it, can be the beginning of a breakthrough. In relationships, failure can be equally instructive. When a connection breaks down or trust is lost, it's painful, but it's also a moment ripe with insight. What went wrong? What patterns emerged? What can we do differently next time? Seen through this lens, even emotional failure becomes a powerful teacher, guiding us toward deeper awareness and better choices. Finally, failure builds character. It strips away pride, entitlement, and complacency. It reveals what we're made of. When we fail and keep going, we develop grit, determination, and a deeper respect for the process. We become less afraid of imperfection and more willing to experiment. That courage, the courage to fail and rise again, is what separates those who merely dream from those who achieve. Life is full of challenges, academic, personal, professional, emotional, and even spiritual. But what defines our path isn't whether we face challenges or not. It's how we face them. The decision to embrace challenges, rather than avoid or resent them, is one of the clearest indicators of a resilient and successful mindset. It's not an easy decision, but it's a powerful one. Challenges are often seen as interruptions, as obstacles that delay our progress or complicate our goals. But when we shift our perspective, we begin to realize that challenges are the path. They aren't separate from growth, they are growth in disguise. Each challenge carries within it a lesson, a test, or an opportunity. Those who learn to embrace challenges begin to extract strength from what others run from. When we embrace challenges, we move from a reactive life to a proactive one. Instead of fearing what's around the corner, we begin to lean into discomfort. This doesn't mean seeking out suffering or recklessness. It means choosing courage over comfort. It means understanding that your potential lies outside your comfort zone, and the only way to reach it is by stepping beyond what's familiar. People who avoid challenges often do so because they're afraid of failure, embarrassment, or judgment. But in that avoidance, they deny themselves the chance to grow. It's in the effort, the confusion, and the mess of trying something difficult that we forge character. It's in the wrestling with doubt and complexity that we uncover new strength. Every challenge, whether it's learning a new skill, facing a difficult conversation, or overcoming a setback, offers us a choice: shrink or stretch. Those who stretch build capacity. They develop what psychologists call self-efficacy, the belief in one's ability to influence events and outcomes. And with each new challenge they overcome, their belief in themselves deepens. Take the example of public speaking, one of the most common fears in the world. For someone who avoids it, the fear grows stronger over time. But for someone who embraces the challenge, every speech becomes a stepping stone. The first one may be terrifying, the second a little easier, and by the 10th or 20th they may find themselves thriving. This is not magic, it's mindset. In educational settings, students who embrace academic challenges tend to outperform their peers over time, even if they start with less talent or background knowledge. Why? Because they engage, they ask questions, they persist through confusion, and they value the struggle. That struggle, though frustrating, is the engine of learning. In relationships, challenges often arise in the form of conflict, miscommunication, or unmet expectations. Rather than avoiding these moments or pretending they don't matter, emotionally intelligent people engage with them. They see challenges as invitations to grow closer, to understand more deeply, and to become more authentic. Difficult conversations, handled with care, often lead to stronger bonds. From a professional perspective, challenges are the training ground for leadership. Great leaders are not the ones who avoid problems, they are the ones who face them head on. They step into uncertainty, they make tough calls, and they carry the emotional weight of responsibility. Embracing challenges at work is not just about climbing the ladder, it's about becoming someone who can be trusted with more. One of the reasons people hesitate to embrace challenges is because of imposter syndrome, the fear that they're not good enough and will be exposed as a fraud. Ironically, the only way to overcome imposter syndrome is to step into challenges anyway. Confidence isn't built in retreat, it's built in action. It's built by proving to yourself, over and over, that you can handle more than you thought. There's also a powerful neurological reason to embrace challenges. When we engage in tasks that stretch us, our brains form new neural pathways. This process, called neuroplasticity, is how we become smarter, more adaptable, and more creative. Avoiding challenge leads to stagnation, but embracing challenge literally rewires our brains for growth. Perhaps the most beautiful part of embracing challenges is the sense of aliveness it brings. When we are tested, we come alive, we pay attention, we push ourselves, we stop coasting and start striving. Life becomes more meaningful when we stop avoiding difficulty and start using it as a stepping stone. The climb may be steep, but the view from the top is always worth it. In the pursuit of success, one of the most misunderstood concepts is perfection. Many people, consciously or unconsciously, believe that they need to be flawless to succeed, that unless they get everything right, their efforts aren't good enough. But this belief not only sets unrealistic standards, it also paralyzes action. The truth is, success doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being consistent. Consistency is the quiet engine behind all great achievement. It's not glamorous. It rarely gets applause. But it is what separates those who wish from those who do. You don't have to be the most talented, the most knowledgeable, or the most gifted. You just have to show up, day after day, doing the work even when it's boring, difficult, or imperfect. That's how real results are built. Perfection, on the other hand, is an illusion. No one, not the most successful entrepreneur, the most celebrated athlete, or the most revered artist, is perfect. Behind every achievement you admire is a trail of mistakes, revisions, and imperfect attempts. Perfectionism convinces people to delay, to overthink, and to second-guess themselves. It's a trap that disguises itself as ambition, but ultimately leads to procrastination and burnout. When you choose consistency over perfection, you free yourself from the impossible standard of always getting it right. You give yourself permission to improve gradually. You begin to value progress over polish, effort over ego. This mindset doesn't lower your standards, it aligns them with the way real growth actually happens, incrementally through repeated effort. Consistency builds momentum. Like drops of water filling a bucket. Each small action may seem insignificant at the time, but over weeks and months, those actions compound. Whether it's writing 1 page a day, practicing a skill for 30 minutes, or choosing to eat one healthy meal, these tiny acts, repeated regularly, create real transformation. And when you stay consistent, you get better. Not all at once, but certainly over time. Consider a gym goer who exercises intensely once a month versus someone who trains moderately 3 times a week. The latter will almost always see better results. Why? Because the body, like the mind, responds to repetition. It's not about intensity alone. It's about frequency. It's about rhythm and routine. That's the essence of consistency. In creative work, this principle is just as true. Writers don't publish masterpieces in a single sitting. They write drafts, revise, delete, and write again. Musicians don't compose classics overnight. They play scales, experiment with chords, and repeat performances until the melody is refined. The creative process thrives not under pressure for perfection, but through the habit of showing up. What often kills consistency is the all or nothing mindset. People say, if I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. But that logic is self-sabotage. Doing something imperfectly is always better than doing nothing at all. Writing 1 paragraph is better than writing none. Taking a short walk is better than skipping a workout. The real goal is to keep the chain going, to not break the streak, even if the effort is small. Consistency is also how trust is built, both with others and with yourself. When you consistently follow through on your goals, yourself, confidence rises. You begin to trust your own word. Likewise, people begin to rely on you, not because you're perfect, but because you're dependable. You become the person who delivers not just once, but repeatedly. That's how reputations are made. There's a strong psychological benefit to consistent action. It creates structure and reduces decision fatigue. When something becomes a habit, you no longer need motivation to do it. It becomes automatic. You don't have to feel inspired to take action. You take action, and the inspiration follows. Consistency turns effort into a lifestyle, not just a phase. Of course, consistency doesn't mean rigidity. There will be days when things go wrong, when you miss a step or fall off track. That's okay. What matters is that you get back up quickly. Consistency is not about never breaking the routine. It's about always returning to it. Perfection demands flawlessness. Consistency allows for forgiveness and resilience. Ultimately, choosing consistency over perfection is an act of self-compassion. It means accepting that growth is messy, success is nonlinear, and real progress happens through persistence, not performance. When you commit to being consistent even imperfectly, you tap into one of the most reliable and sustainable paths to lifelong success. At the heart of lifelong success lies a voice, not the voice of society, parents, teachers, or critics, but the voice inside your own mind. This inner dialogue, the way you speak to yourself when no one else is listening, shapes your confidence, your decisions, and ultimately your destiny. Self-belief is not something you're born with. It's something you cultivate day by day, thought by thought. Your internal conversation can be your greatest ally or your harshest enemy. When you believe in yourself, truly believe, you activate a powerful force within. You become willing to take risks, to persevere through setbacks, and to envision possibilities that others might not see. But when your inner dialogue is filled with doubt, criticism, and fear, even the simplest tasks can feel impossible. Many people think confidence comes from external success awards, praise, validation. But true confidence is internal. It begins with self-trust, the belief that you are capable, resilient, and worthy. That trust is built not by pretending to be perfect, but by showing up consistently, learning from your failures, and keeping promises to yourself. Belief is a muscle, and your thoughts are the weight you lift. The problem is, most of us inherit a negative inner dialogue from early experiences, criticism from adults, comparison with peers, failure in school, or social rejection. Over time, these experiences become scripts we repeat. I'm not good enough. I'll never make it. I'm always messing up. The more we repeat these scripts, the deeper they embed themselves into our self-image. But here's the empowering truth. You can rewrite your inner dialogue. You can interrupt the negative patterns and choose new, empowering thoughts. Instead of saying, I can't, you can say, I'm learning. Instead of, I always fail, try, this is hard, but I'm getting better. These small shifts in language have massive impacts over time. Your brain listens to what you say, makes sure you're saying something worth hearing. Affirmations are one powerful tool in this process. Not the fluffy kind that you don't believe, but real, grounded affirmations that remind you of your strengths, values, and potential. Saying, I am capable of learning anything I set my mind to. Or I deserve to take up space and pursue my goals. May feel awkward at first, but repetition begins to rewire your self-perception. Eventually, these truths start to feel real. Self-belief is also tested in silence when no one is watching and there's no applause. Do you still work hard when there's no recognition? Do you still move forward when the path isn't clear? That quiet resilience, fueled by self-belief, is often what separates those who give up from those who keep going. The strongest people aren't loud, they're quietly convinced of their worth and purpose. Your inner dialogue also determines how you respond to failure. A person with strong self-belief doesn't say, I failed because I'm worthless. They say, that didn't go well, but I can figure it out. They don't spiral into shame, they reflect, learn, and move forward. This kind of self-talk creates emotional stability and protects your mental health during tough times. Self-belief is not arrogance or denial of flaws. In fact, it requires humility. Believing in yourself doesn't mean thinking you're perfect. It means knowing you're enough as you are, while still working to grow. It means accepting your humanity without letting it limit your vision. That balance between self-acceptance and ambition is where real confidence is born. The people you surround yourself with can influence your inner dialogue too. If you constantly hear doubt, negativity, or criticism from others, it becomes harder to maintain a healthy mindset. That's why it's important to choose environments and relationships that support your growth. Community matters, but your inner voice matters even more because you carry it everywhere. Journaling can be a helpful practice for developing self-awareness about your inner dialogue. Writing down your thoughts, especially during moments of fear or discouragement, allows you to observe patterns and challenge false beliefs. Over time, this practice helps you separate fact from fiction and empowers you to create a more honest, compassionate inner narrative. At the end of the day, the story you tell yourself about yourself shapes everything. You could have all the talent in the world, but if you don't believe you're capable, you'll sabotage your progress. And you could face obstacle after obstacle, but with strong self-belief, you'll keep climbing. Your inner dialogue is not just a reflection of your mind's. It's the architect of your life. One of the most defining characteristics of truly successful individuals in any field or stage of life is their deep and enduring commitment to learning. Lifelong learning isn't about formal education alone. It's a mindset, a passionate, ongoing curiosity about the world, about oneself, and about the possibilities that lie ahead. When you adopt this mindset, you unlock a sustainable source of growth that fuels you for life. Curiosity is a kind of hunger not for food, but for understanding. It drives us to ask questions, explore unfamiliar ideas, and engage with problems instead of avoiding them. A curious mind doesn't stop growing after school ends or after a job is secured. In fact, it sees every stage of life as an open classroom. Whether it's reading a new book, asking insightful questions, learning a new skill, or listening to someone's story, the curious person never stops evolving. Lifelong learners understand that knowledge is not static. The world is always changing, new technologies emerge, industries evolve, cultures shift, and scientific discoveries reshape what we thought we knew. To thrive in such a world, we must remain flexible and open-minded. This doesn't mean we lack convictions. It means we are always willing to update them in the face of new evidence. In contrast, those who stop learning fall behind. Not because they aren't intelligent, but because they become rigid. They cling to outdated ways of thinking, resist change, and rely too heavily on what they already know. This stagnation can happen quietly. Someone who was once ambitious slowly becomes complacent, believing there's nothing new to learn. But the world keeps moving, and success requires movement too. True curiosity goes beyond intellectual interest. It becomes a way of approaching life. Curious people are better problem solvers because they explore multiple perspectives. They ask why and what if. They look for connections between seemingly unrelated ideas. This creative thinking gives them an edge in innovation, leadership, and adaptability, all critical traits in today's dynamic world. Learning also strengthens humility. The more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. This awareness doesn't diminish you, it grounds you. It makes you more receptive to feedback, more collaborative, and less threatened by other people's expertise. Lifelong learners aren't trying to prove they're the smartest in the room. They're trying to become smarter by learning from the room. Moreover, learning isn't always academic or technical. Some of the most transformative learning comes from life experiences, failure, loss, success, relationships, travel, and reflection. Every experience carries a lesson if we're willing to look for it. Curiosity invites us to examine these experiences with openness rather than judgment. We begin asking, what is life trying to teach me here? Instead of, why is this happening to me? Embracing lifelong learning also requires you to challenge your own assumptions. This can be uncomfortable. You might realize that a belief you've held for years no longer serves you. You might discover you were wrong about a situation, about a person, about yourself. But in that discomfort lies growth. Learning demands vulnerability, the willingness to be a beginner again and again. One powerful habit of lifelong learners is reading. Books, articles, essays, and even thoughtful blogs expose us to new ideas, voices, and experiences beyond our own. Reading is not just a mental activity, it's an act of expanding your world. You. Leaders are often readers, not because they need credentials, but because they understand that a broader mind leads to better decisions. Another hallmark of curious, lifelong learners is that they ask questions not just to others, but to themselves. What am I missing here? What could I do differently? What else could be true? These questions open the door to insight and innovation. They prevent tunnel vision and promote critical thinking. The most successful people aren't those who claim to have all the answers, they're the ones asking better questions. Importantly, a learning mindset keeps you young not just intellectually, but emotionally and spiritually. When you remain curious, life never becomes dull. There's always something new to discover, some perspective to explore, some mystery to unravel. It infuses your days with purpose. In contrast, when curiosity dies, so does the drive to grow. Life becomes repetitive, predictable, and uninspired. Finally, lifelong learning is an act of respect for yourself and for the world. It's a recognition that you are a work in progress, that no matter how much you know, there's always more to learn. It's a decision to live with wonder rather than certainty, with engagement rather than entitlement. In the long journey of success, those who keep learning never stop rising because they never stop reaching. Resilience is the backbone of lifelong success. It's the invisible strength that allows people to keep going when life throws unexpected punches, and it will. No one is immune to setbacks, loss, rejection, or failure. What sets successful people apart is not that they avoid these challenges, but that they are able to bounce back from them, stronger and wiser than before. Life will test you. It will break your routines, surprise you with adversity, and push you beyond what feels comfortable. In these moments, resilience becomes the deciding factor. It's not about pretending everything is fine or suppressing your emotions. Rather, resilience is about facing hardship honestly, processing it with courage, and then choosing to stand back up not just once, but as many times as it takes. What many people don't realize is that resilience is not a fixed trait. It's not something you either have or don't have. It's a skill that can be cultivated. Like a muscle, it gets stronger each time it's exercised. When you overcome a challenge, even a small one, your capacity to handle future adversity expands. You learn that you can survive discomfort and even thrive in the aftermath. One of the most important aspects of resilience is the ability to reframe setbacks. People with a resilient mindset don't define themselves by their failures. Instead of saying, "I failed," they say, "That didn't work out, but it's not the end." They view adversity not as a personal indictment, but as a part of life. This shift in perspective is crucial. It allows them to see failure as data, not defeat. Bounce backability also requires emotional regulation. When disappointment hits, it's easy to spiral into self-pity, anger, or despair. Resilient individuals allow themselves to feel, but they don't stay stuck in those emotions. They find healthy ways to release the pain, and they eventually redirect their energy toward healing and moving forward. This emotional flexibility is key to their inner strength. Resilience also involves belief in one's ability to influence the future, even when the present feels uncontrollable. This belief, sometimes called locus of control, helps resilient people stay motivated. They understand that while they may not control everything that happens to them, they can control their responses, their mindset, and the actions they take moving forward. That sense of agency is empowering. In building resilience, support systems matter greatly. No one bounces back alone. Whether it's family, friends, mentors, or even therapists, resilient people surround themselves with others who offer encouragement, perspective, and stability during hard times. They know when to ask for help, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Seeking support is a form of strength, not surrender. Another critical aspect of resilience is purpose. When you have a compelling reason to move forward, a goal, a mission, a dream, you are more likely to recover from setbacks. Purpose gives pain meaning. It transforms obstacles from dead ends into detours. Resilient individuals often anchor themselves to a larger vision of what they want to build or become, and that vision pulls them through difficulty. Resilience also shows up in grit. It's not just about overcoming major life events. It's about staying committed during mundane, unglamorous moments. It's waking up early to try again after a bad day. It's showing up to work, to family, to your goals, even when you're tired. It's the steady determination to keep going, step by step, even when progress feels slow or invisible. Children aren't born resilient, they learn it by observing how the adults in their lives handle challenges. That means resilience is both modeled and taught. Whether you're a parent, teacher, or leader, how you respond to setbacks sends a powerful message. If you can demonstrate composure, accountability, and hope in the face of difficulty, you create a ripple effect in those around you. Resilience also invites us to be patient with ourselves. Healing, rebuilding, and overcoming all take time. There is no quick fix for a broken heart, a failed venture, or a painful loss. Resilient people understand that bouncing back doesn't mean rushing forward. It means moving with intention, grace, and perseverance, even if the steps are slow. They trust the process of recovery. Perhaps the most powerful truth about resilience is this: every time you rise from a fall, you carry something with you, not just survival, but wisdom. The lessons learned in hardship can't be taught in comfort. They deepen your empathy, sharpen your character, and build your emotional muscle. Over time, these lessons accumulate into something remarkable, not just the ability to succeed, but the ability to endure, rebuild, and thrive. Adaptability is no longer just a useful trait, it's a survival skill. In a world that's evolving at lightning speed, those who can't or won't adapt risk being left behind. Whether it's in technology, business, relationships, or personal development, change is inevitable. What determines success is how you respond to it. Being adaptable doesn't mean you have no direction. It means you're flexible in how you reach your goals. Many people fear change because it brings uncertainty. It disrupts the comfort of routine and forces us into the unknown. But avoiding change doesn't protect you, it limits you. Growth happens in the stretch, not in the stagnation. Adaptable individuals understand that while they may not control what happens, they can control how they respond. And that response, grounded in openness rather than resistance, is what defines long-term success. One of the first steps to becoming more adaptable is shifting your relationship with uncertainty. Most people seek control because it gives a sense of safety. But in truth, very little in life is truly certain. When you make peace with not knowing, when you accept that uncertainty is part of life, you free up massive mental and emotional energy. Instead of fighting the tide, you learn to move with it, like a skilled surfer riding the waves. Adaptability also requires a growth mindset. People who believe they can learn, evolve, and improve are naturally more open to new experiences. They're willing to try different approaches, to take risks, to fail and try again. On the other hand, those with a fixed mindset tend to resist change because it threatens their sense of identity or competence. For them, change feels like a threat. For adaptable people, it feels like an opportunity. Openness to change is also a reflection of emotional intelligence. It takes a certain level of self-awareness and maturity to admit that your current methods, beliefs, or habits may no longer serve you. It's not easy to let go of what's familiar, even when it's not working. But emotionally intelligent individuals can step back, observe without ego, and make the adjustments needed to stay aligned with their purpose and values. Sometimes the most challenging changes come not from the outside world, but from within. As we grow, we may find that our goals shift, our interests evolve, or our definitions of success change. Adaptable people embrace this inner transformation. They don't cling to an old version of themselves out of pride. Instead, they allow themselves to evolve, knowing that self-free invention is part of personal mastery. One key characteristic of adaptable individuals is that they ask questions instead of making assumptions. When faced with a new situation, they don't rush to judge or resist. Instead, they pause and ask, "What can I learn here?" or "How might this serve me?" This attitude of inquiry keeps their minds open and their energy focused on progress. They don't pretend to know everything, they're always willing to discover. Adaptability also involves strategic detachment. This doesn't mean being passive or indifferent. It means being willing to release attachment to specific outcomes or timelines. Sometimes life doesn't unfold the way we planned, and rigid attachment can lead to frustration or despair. Adaptable people learn to pivot. They adjust their sails when the wind changes direction, trusting that movement, even unexpected movement, can still lead to meaningful destinations. In professional environments, adaptability is one of the most sought-after qualities. Industries evolve, roles shift, and technologies advance rapidly. Those who can upskill, reskill, and shift perspective thrive, not because they're the smartest in the room, but because they're the most responsive. They're not intimidated by change, they're energized by it. They see each shift as a chance to sharpen their edge. Even in relationships, adaptability plays a vital role. People change over time their needs, communication styles, goals. Being adaptable means being willing to listen, adjust, and grow alongside others rather than expecting them to remain static. It means resolving conflict not with rigidity, but with empathy and creativity. Relationships that last are built not just on love, but on the ability to evolve together. Technology offers a powerful lens through which to understand adaptability. Just a decade ago, many of today's everyday tools and platforms didn't exist. Those who resisted digital trends often found themselves isolated or obsolete, while those who adapted even uncomfortably at first stayed connected and relevant. This is a perfect metaphor for life. You don't have to love change, but you must learn to work with it. Ultimately, adaptability is about resilience in motion. It's the ability to keep moving forward even when the terrain shifts beneath your feet. It's not the strongest or the smartest who succeed long term, but the most adaptable. They're the ones who can read the room, stay calm during the storm, and reinvent themselves when needed. They are rooted in values but flexible in method, a combination that allows them to thrive wherever life takes them. Having a clear vision and setting purposeful goals are fundamental pillars for achieving lifelong success. Vision is the compass that guides your journey, giving your actions meaning and direction. Without it, you risk wandering aimlessly, reacting to circumstances rather than proactively shaping your future. Vision inspires and motivates. It paints a picture of what you want your life to become, energizing you to move forward even when obstacles arise. Setting goals translates that vision into actionable steps. While a vision is broad and inspiring, goals are specific, measurable targets that bring your dreams within reach. Goals break down overwhelming ambitions into manageable pieces, providing checkpoints along your path. They create structure in your efforts and make success tangible and trackable, fueling your momentum with every achievement. Effective goal setting requires clarity and focus. Vague goals like "I want to be successful" are less motivating and less actionable than clear, defined goals such as "I want to increase my sales by 20% in the next 6 months," or "I want to learn a new language by the end of the year." The more specific your goals, the easier it is to map out a plan and commit to consistent progress. Long-term vision and short-term goals must work in harmony. Vision without goals is just wishful thinking. Goals without vision can lead to aimless activity. When you align your daily actions with your bigger picture, every step has purpose. This alignment fosters discipline and resilience because you understand not only what you're doing, but why you're doing it, a powerful motivator during difficult times. One of the most effective tools for goal setting is the SMART criteria: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This framework forces you to refine your goals into actionable plans. It encourages realism, ensuring your goals challenge you but remain attainable. Deadlines add urgency, pushing you to avoid procrastination and maintain steady progress toward your vision. Vision also acts as a filter for decision making. When faced with choices or distractions, asking, does this align with my vision? Or will this help me reach my goals? Helps you stay on track. It sharpens your focus and reduces the noise that can derail your progress. This clarity can be a powerful antidote to overwhelm, helping you prioritize effectively and conserve your energy for what truly matters. Goal setting is not a one-time event, but a dynamic process. Life changes, new opportunities arise, and challenges appear. Your vision may evolve, and so should your goals. Regularly reviewing and adjusting your goals ensures they remain relevant and aligned with your current circumstances and aspirations. Flexibility within your structure keeps you moving forward without becoming rigid or discouraged. Another crucial element is breaking big goals into smaller milestones. Large ambitions can feel daunting and trigger procrastination. By dividing goals into incremental steps, you create a series of mini wins. These victories boost your confidence, build momentum, and keep you motivated over the long haul. Each completed milestone is proof that progress is possible, fueling further commitment. Visualizing success is a technique many high achievers use to strengthen their vision. By mentally picturing yourself achieving your goals, you activate the emotional and psychological drivers that propel you into action. Visualization creates a compelling experience of future success that can inspire persistence and creativity. It reminds you of the rewards waiting on the other side of hard work. Accountability enhances goal achievement. Sharing your vision and goals with trusted friends, mentors, or coaches can create external motivation and support. When others know your goals, you're more likely to stay committed and honest with yourself. Accountability partners can provide encouragement, feedback, and perspective, helping you overcome obstacles and celebrate successes. It's important to recognize that setbacks are part of any journey toward a vision. Goals may need revision, and progress might stall at times. However, a clear vision acts as an anchor during uncertainty. It reminds you that setbacks are temporary and part of growth. Resilient goal setters learn from failures, adjust their plans, and maintain faith in their ultimate purpose. Finally, vision and goal setting connect your present to your future. They transform abstract hopes into concrete realities. They empower you to design your life intentionally, rather than letting life happen to you. With a compelling vision and strategic goals, success becomes not just a possibility, but an inevitable outcome of focused, persistent effort. Discipline is often described as the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's the ability to make yourself do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Success is rarely a product of bursts of effort. Rather, it is built on the foundation of consistent, disciplined action. Without discipline, good intentions fade quickly and progress stalls. Consistency is the partner of discipline. It's not just about starting strong, but about maintaining your efforts over the long term. Many people begin new projects or habits with enthusiasm, only to lose steam weeks or months later. Lifelong success requires a commitment to steady progress, day after day, regardless of motivation levels or external circumstances. The power of discipline lies in creating habits. Habits automate actions so they become part of your routine, requiring less mental energy and willpower. When discipline helps you establish positive habits, success becomes less about struggling in the moment and more about trusting the system you've built. These habits compound over time, multiplying your results exponentially. One reason discipline can be challenging is that it requires delaying gratification. In a world obsessed with instant results and quick fixes, discipline asks you to be patient and focused. It means saying no to short-term pleasures or distractions in favor of long-term gains. This ability to prioritize future rewards over immediate satisfaction is a hallmark of successful people. Self-discipline is fundamentally a form of self-respect. When you commit to your goals and values through disciplined action, you're honoring your own potential and purpose. This internal alignment fosters a sense of pride and confidence, reinforcing your motivation to continue. Conversely, giving in to distraction or laziness can erode self-esteem and create a cycle of self-sabotage. Consistency also builds trust with yourself and with others. When you show up consistently, whether it's to your work, your relationships, or your personal growth, you demonstrate reliability. People come to depend on you, and more importantly, you come to trust your own ability to follow through. This trust is essential for sustained success and self-efficacy. Discipline requires clear boundaries. It means setting limits on behaviors, environments, and influences that sabotage your progress. Whether it's reducing time on social media, avoiding negative influences, or structuring your day for productivity, boundaries protect your energy and focus. Discipline is as much about what you eliminate as what you pursue. It's important to recognize that discipline doesn't mean rigidity. True discipline allows for flexibility when needed, while maintaining core commitments. For example, if unforeseen circumstances disrupt your routine, a disciplined person adapts without abandoning their goals. They return to their habits as soon as possible, understanding that consistency over time matters more than perfection. Accountability strengthens discipline and consistency. Sharing your goals with someone who checks in on your progress creates external motivation. It also creates a sense of responsibility that can help you push through moments of doubt or fatigue. Many successful people use coaches, mentors, or peer groups to maintain their discipline and keep moving forward. Mindset plays a critical role in sustaining discipline. When you view discipline as a form of freedom to create the life you want, it becomes empowering rather than restrictive. Shifting your perspective from "I have to" "I choose to" transforms discipline into an act of empowerment, increasing your commitment and satisfaction. Sometimes discipline feels hard because the rewards are distant or intangible. This is where focusing on small wins can make a big difference. Celebrating incremental progress provides motivation to continue. It reminds you that your efforts are building towards something meaningful, keeping your enthusiasm alive even during slow phases. Ultimately, discipline and consistency are about showing up for yourself over and over again. They are the daily, sometimes unseen actions that accumulate into extraordinary achievements. The secret to lifelong success lies not in bursts of genius or luck, but in the quiet power of disciplined, consistent effort sustained over time. Continuous learning is a fundamental driver of lifelong success. The world around us is in a constant state of flux. Technologies evolve, industries shift, and new ideas emerge every day. To keep pace, you must commit to learning not just once, but as a lifelong practice. This commitment keeps your skills sharp, your thinking fresh, and your perspective broad, positioning you to seize new opportunities and solve novel problems. Curiosity is the fuel that powers this ongoing learning journey. It's the innate desire to understand, explore, and discover that pushes you beyond your comfort zone. Curious individuals ask questions not just to acquire information, but to deepen their understanding and connect disparate ideas. This hunger for knowledge keeps the mind agile and open, allowing you to adapt and innovate in a rapidly changing world. One of the most significant barriers to learning is complacency, the belief that you already know enough or that learning ends with formal education. Lifelong learners reject this mindset. They understand that no matter how much they achieve, there is always more to explore. This humility fosters growth because it acknowledges that knowledge is infinite and learning is a journey without a final destination. Continuous learning doesn't have to be formal or academic. It can happen in many ways through reading, listening, observing, experimenting, or engaging in conversations with diverse perspectives. The key is intentionality, actively seeking knowledge rather than passively consuming information. This proactive approach accelerates growth and deepens your expertise over time. Curiosity also drives creativity. When you remain curious, you challenge assumptions and explore alternatives. This openness to new ideas often leads to innovative solutions and breakthroughs. Many successful people credit their curiosity for helping them discover opportunities others overlook, or for finding novel approaches to seemingly intractable problems. Embracing a learning mindset involves embracing failure as well. Learning is inherently tied to trial and error. When you're curious, you view failures not as setbacks, but as valuable feedback. Each mistake is a lesson that informs your next attempt. This resilience in the face of failure fuels continuous improvement and keeps you moving forward even when progress is slow or difficult. Technology has made continuous learning more accessible than ever. Online courses, podcasts, webinars, and digital libraries offer endless resources. However, the abundance of information can be overwhelming. Successful learners develop discernment, the ability to identify credible sources and focus on knowledge that aligns with their goals and values, avoiding distractions and misinformation. Mentorship and community are also crucial to continuous learning. Engaging with others who have different expertise or experiences exposes you to new perspectives and challenges your thinking. Learning becomes richer and more dynamic when it's a two-way exchange. Successful people often seek mentors who inspire, challenge, and guide them, accelerating their growth. Curiosity nurtures resilience as well. When you approach life with a sense of wonder rather than fear, you become more adaptable and open to change. You see challenges as puzzles to solve, not threats to avoid. This mindset transforms obstacles into opportunities for discovery and growth, making you more effective at navigating life's uncertainties. To cultivate continuous learning and curiosity, it helps to set learning goals alongside your professional or personal goals. This could mean committing to reading a certain number of books per year, mastering a new skill, or attending workshops regularly. These goals keep your curiosity active and your growth intentional, preventing stagnation or burnout. Finally, continuous learning is deeply rewarding on a personal level. It keeps life interesting and invigorates your sense of purpose. The process of discovering new things, expanding your horizons, and connecting with the world around you creates a sense of fulfillment that transcends material success. This joy of learning sustains you through challenges and enriches every aspect of your life. In the journey toward lifelong success, mindset is the true secret ingredient, the lens through which every challenge, opportunity, and experience is filtered. It's not just about talent, luck, or resources. It's about how you think, how you approach life, and how you commit to growing every single day. The habits of a success mindset, from resilience and self-belief to adaptability, discipline, and curiosity, form the foundation that carries you through uncertainty and change. Remember, success is not a fixed destination, but a lifelong journey of learning, evolving, and pushing your own limits. It requires patience, persistence, and the courage to keep showing up, even when the path is difficult. Your mindset determines whether you see obstacles as roadblocks or stepping stones, whether you embrace change or resist it, and whether you allow setbacks to define you or refine you. Every great achievement begins with a single thought, the decision to believe in yourself and your potential. By cultivating the mindset of a lifelong learner, a disciplined doer, and a resilient visionary, you are equipping yourself not just to succeed once, but to thrive across every season of life. So take these principles to heart. Build your vision, nurture your discipline, remain curious, and most importantly, believe in your ability to adapt and grow. Your secret to lifelong success lies within you in the power of your mindset. Embrace it and watch as it transforms your life beyond what you ever imagined possible.